Reconnect.
The other day, I went to lunch with some friends. We got to the restaurant, sat down, and I put my bag down beside me. Then, I looked up to my friends. And within those 5 to 10 seconds of sitting down and getting comfortable, they had already managed to take out their phones and block themselves from each other. Sound familiar? The funny thing is, this isn't a new occurrence. My mom told me that when she was little, it wasn't phones that people picked up, but the newspaper. And the only ones that were really able to get away with it at the table were fathers. But now, it happens with everyone. Let's take an example. You know when your friends are trying to talk to you, but you don't reply, or you say, "Give me a second," because you're occupied by your device. So they keep on saying, "Dude, dude, hey, dude!" And you're like, wow, that is so annoying. But think about it. To them, you are the annoying one. And when you're doing that, it sends a strong message that what you're interacting with on your device is more important than talking to them or simply just answering their question. And although it might be important or urgent, a lot of the time it can wait. I know this because I do it all the time. And it's all thanks to technology. Technophilia is the strong enthusiasm for technology, especially new technologies, such as personal computers, the internet, mobile phones, and many more. Nowadays, a lot of people are technophiles. Let's face it, technology is great. You can talk face-to-face to anyone, anytime, no matter where they are in the world. You have access to almost every single song ever created. You can carry a whole library in your pocket. It has become a huge part of our lives. It's used all the time, day and night, for work, entertainment, connecting with people. And you can do it anywhere, walking down the street, hiking a volcano, sitting on the toilet, or even listening to me talk right here, right now. It seems as though new technologies have become an extension of ourselves. I read a story showing how much of an impact it can have on someone's life, that when these parents grounded their teenage daughter by taking her phone away, she had become physically sick. Sick enough that she couldn't get out of bed. Isn't that crazy? However, we all agree technology is great. It has many uses and functions that are helpful, like I said before. But it's got a catch, especially if you're not aware on how to use it to your advantage. One of the biggest issues I see, which isn't fully consciously done, is that we use it for an escape from almost everything. It's an escape from work because sometimes you need a break. It's an escape from boredom because it easily fills up your time. It's an escape from human interaction because sometimes there's an awkward or uncomfortable feeling when sitting next to someone. Now, if I were to ask you about what you're doing whilst escaping, most of you would probably say social media like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, or some sort of entertainment website. And for the parents out there, by the way, yes, email and WhatsApp also count as social media. If you notice, social media is most commonly used as a platform for sharing news. Whether it's the newest iPhone just came out, or your friends just posted about their trip to New Zealand, or an ancient building just burnt down in France. Basically, just any type of news. And a lot of the time, it's something happening elsewhere in the world which isn't immediately important to you. So it basically distracts you from what is going on in your life, the one in front of your eyes. Of course, we don't use these platforms and services only for escape. Facebook, Messenger, Skype, for example, are all great for staying connected to friends and family around the world, because you can see them as if they are right there in front of you, which feels more like a proper visit. However, somewhere along the line, we've developed this way of somewhat unconsciously making the decision to pick up our device at any time, no matter what we're doing. Sitting by the pool, waiting for the green light, doing homework, or even when talking to your friends and you suddenly hear your phone buzz. Having your phone on you at all time leads to the feeling of needing to respond immediately to whoever just contacted you, because you feel like it might be important, or urgent, or something bad just happened, or that person will get mad at you if you don't answer their message in the 2-minute period they're expecting you to. But who cares if they're mad? Isn't it time to get back to living life in the moment? So put your phone on silent, disconnect from it, and enjoy talking to your friend over that coffee. Because let's be honest, we go from screen to screen to screen to screen. And if we start to pay attention, we may realize that we're on a screen for more than half our day. It starts with the alarm to wake us up in the morning, which leads us to check the notifications we receive throughout the night, from Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Then it's school or work, and most likely you have something to show to someone there what you found out about earlier on social media. Then, onto another screen for working, and that can last for up to 6 or 8 hours, depending on your age and activity. Then it's time to go back home or go out somewhere else. And to decompress, why not scroll through Instagram, watch a bit of YouTube, or check out what's happening on CNN. Even something as normally relaxing as listening to music might have you scrolling up and down your screen unless you have pre-created or pre-downloaded playlists. Top it off with a little TV show before bedtime, and there you go. It is proven that this constant visual screen stimulation is overwhelming for the brain and leads to a lack of ability to focus and a lower attention span. Yet the distraction that we get from technology, from our devices, produces a surge of dopamine, which is why over time we come to crave them. Because dopamine is a chemical that makes us temporarily feel good. Now I know you either go to green school, send your kids here, or work here, which might make you think, well, it's green school. We're in the outdoors. We don't fall into that category. And although that might be true, to some extent that might be true, but not as much as you think. Green school is definitely different than a lot of schools in a sense that we are more active outdoors and many other things. But we are still very much tech-oriented, or at least we are in the higher grades, because we use it for work, which has now become almost fully digitized. Back in April, however, a small group of us grade 12 students, along with some teachers, went on a 2.5-week camping road trip throughout East Java. We went to some awesome places and met a bunch of amazing people. It was a really fun experience, and we got to plan the whole trip ourselves. This meant we were in charge of what we wanted to do and what we wanted to achieve. So we made these rules called the Golden Gooses, which were actually more like guidelines to follow. And one of them was disconnect to reconnect, which means disconnect from technology and reconnect to each other, nature, and the community. It was our attempt to revive our sense of biophilia. But what is biophilia? It's the tendency to seek connection with nature and other forms of life, like people and animals. This is hardwired into us. It ensured our survival in the past by nurturing our familiarity with nature, and it still simmers in our cells. It's why we're amazed when we see new creatures, why we keep pets, why we enjoy sitting calmly under a tree. Don't forget that. Realizing this was a good opportunity for my Greenstone, I asked a few of my friends to journal a bit about their experience with this during the trip. Within our group of 12 people, roughly 8 of us chose to really stick to the disconnect to reconnect idea. Out of this group, the ones who journaled their experience said they felt more present and appreciative of their surroundings than normal. They found it more enjoyable to meet new people and get closer to friends without the option of escape of their device waiting for them in the back of their mind. They were more motivated to play games, cook together, go for a swim in the ocean, talk at the beach, in short, seeking connection with those around them. Of course, I also chose to stick to this rule, and I can definitely relate to them. I enjoyed more the moment I was in. There was this sense of freedom that came with the no technology rule, because my mind was only focused on what we were doing. I wasn't impatiently looking forward to the next Wi-Fi connection, to download a show or check my social media. The usual distractions of the ding, ding, ding from my phone, or the urge to scroll on my screen weren't waiting for me in the back of my mind. So I decided to try it out in my everyday life. But since I felt like I couldn't fully disconnect like we had done in Java, I decided to just stop using most of my social media platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, and so on. I also limited myself to watch TV shows, movies, and YouTube to no more than twice a week for a maximum of 2 hours at a time. Wow! I had so much free time on my hands. It allowed me to pick up old hobbies, find new ones, spend more time with friends and family, basically finding ways that I thought were a better use of my time. I was also more patient and considerate in certain situations. Like when my little brother asked me to play Lego, instead of saying, "No, I'm working on my computer," I'd often put down whatever I was doing and play. Sometimes I would even go up to him and ask him if he wanted to play. And there were moments when I was bored and I'd have the urge to scroll on my screen, to scroll on my phone, looking for ways to distract me from my boredom. But I would stop myself and instead go fly a kite, talk to someone, or make something. Now that I know what that's like, I'm going to try my hardest not to get sucked back into that loop. Research shows that it takes about 8 days for our mind to adapt to lower stimulation. When you let your mind rest, this results with greater focus, greater attention span, and more ideas, simply because our mind is allowed time to be bored, which eventually translates to wandering and daydreaming. But for some people, it's not always that easy, because we've been using new technologies for as long as they've been around, and so we get addicted to it and feel like we can't go without it. So what are some steps we can take to change our habits? If technology is a necessary tool for our lives today, the issue is not so much to deny its value or to stop using it altogether, but to truly use it for our benefit and not be used by it. You can download an app such as Social Fever, Moment, Space, Quality Time, which all track your phone usage and have features that allow you to limit your interaction with it. Stop checking emails, Facebook, etc. on the go, only at your desk or during set times. Read a paper copybook as opposed to on a Kindle or iPad, and carry it with you everywhere. Leave your phone at home when you're going for a walk on the beach. Remember, up until 30 years ago, most people didn't have the options to take their phone, and for the most part, they didn't miss anything. And when it comes to dealing with stress, boredom, or those awkward and uncomfortable situations, you know what? Zoning in on your phone isn't the only solution. There are other ways. You could take a break in the outdoors, be curious and talk to that person, read a book, make a sword, whatever. It might not come as naturally as picking up your device, but give it a go. Because as I said before, it only takes 8 days for our mind to adapt to lower stimulation. And who knows, you might end up finding out it's better than the same old escape to your screen. Lastly, 7 out of 10 people admit they are losing touch with nature. Yet it is known that daily contact with nature is linked to better health, less stress, better moods, an amazing list of features no other product can match. Go spend time in nature. Notice the swoosh of the leaves, the sun peeking over the mountains, the birds calling each other. Connect with everything that surrounds you. Let it be important. Thank you.